Okay, so what I'd like to do is I'd like to go into types of programming here so you guys have an idea of good ways to program for this cardiovascular stuff. Because last class what we did is we went over how to do some of our calculations, and I still want to pull up some of that Excel stuff for you guys, but I want to wrap this stuff up, okay? So I want everybody to give me their thumbs up and listen to the spiel that I'm going to tell you, because I'm going to tell you the applied aspect of how I do this in the field, how I do this as a trainer, and what has worked for me, okay? So there has been, I've been around and doing this for a while, and when I started out, especially, well, I was training before I finished my master's degree, but when I finished my master's degree, I was getting all technical because I had a really good and detailed exercise testing and prescription class that went over detailed on how to prescribe cardiovascular training programs. And so I would prescribe like a certain amount of intensity based on rate of perceived exertion, based on people's maximum heart rate, age predicted max, even heart rate reserve. And I would go detail and say, okay, today you need to run at this, today you need to run at that. And what I found is that there was a large variance in the way people conditioned. Some people would condition faster than others. Other people, so there would be a different rate of conditioning, and people would either supersede or they would be below my recommendations by quite a bit. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen exactly for you, but I would be surprised if it doesn't. Now, that being said, I am not discounting doing this programming of zone training. I like this idea of zone training that NASM is teaching you guys better than what was taught to me in my graduate program, because it's too specific. Okay. Like I said, I could never really predict where a person is going to be at cardiovascular wise in my program design. So what I do with my clients, when let's say you have somebody that's training for a marathon, or they're wanting to run like the Spartan Beast, which is 15 miles, 30 plus obstacles up and down hills, they're wanting to do something like that, okay? I have a client that I just took on right now, yesterday, that wants to lose 15 pounds. Part of the objective, okay, is to get him cardiovascular conditioned. Because when I get him cardiovascular conditioned, he'll be able to write his ticket on how much weight he wants to lose, right? The rest of it really comes down to calorimetry, or energy in versus energy out, keeping a food log, that sort of thing. So what I would do with my clients is I would work with them on what we call LSD training. Now, this is where you're training out when you're high on LSD. No, I'm just kidding. LSD training stands for long, slow duration. Okay? Now, what I say to my clients when we're talking long, slow duration is I tell them, Energizer Bunny. So, you guys have seen this dude, right? What's his slogan? He just keeps going and going and going, right? So that's what I tell my clients their objective is when they do long, slow duration. I tell them, pick a pace that you feel like, hey, I can do this for a long time at this intensity. I don't care if it's almost walking, if it's just one toe in front of the other, or whether it's running faster than that or whatever. But long, slow duration, okay? So they pick a pace where they're like, hey, I could do this for a good amount of time. And then they do that. So let's say they're aiming for 15 minutes. They go for 15 minutes or 10 minutes, right? How many of you guys have been there when you're going running and realized, and you're not in condition for running and you're just getting back into it? How many of you guys remember what it feels like to begin cardiovascular training and how hard it is? Megan does, Robert, yeah, we all do, right? It sucks. It really sucks. You barely make it halfway around the track and your body says, WTH, man. What the heck are you doing? This sucks. This is horrible. Stop doing this now, right? And you're only halfway around the track and you're trying to go for a mile, and doing a mile like kills you, right? That's what it's like to begin cardiovascular training. So you start your clients and say, I don't care how fast you go. I don't care what kind of mileage you cover. I don't care the distance at all. What we're trying to do is see how long you can go, how long you can sustain that pace at whatever pace you're at, okay? So start them at 5 minutes. Start them at whatever they can do. It could be 5 minutes and then 10 minutes, so 3 times a week, okay? For cardiovascular conditioning, specifically with running, okay? And then they'll build it up. They build up very quickly. They do that 3 times a week. I actually have a good story about my wife on that. My wife, love her to death. Is she a fitness guru? Wasn't in the beginning. For her, exercise was a necessary evil. She hated it. And when she had our first child, she had all this, she just had this great figure, and, boom, she has this baby. She's like, I want my body back, right? A lot of you guys probably have kids, know what that feels like, right? And a lot of you husbands are like, yeah, I want your body back too. No, not funny. That was a joke. It was a joke, right? Okay, so anyway, she's wanting to get her body back into condition, and she hates running. She hates doing fitness. It's a necessary evil, right? So somebody gave us a jogging stroller, and we were living in Idaho at the time, beautiful green belt. The green belt was about 1.5 miles around from bridge to bridge, right? Beautiful area. And I'm out there getting a run, and she's out there with the baby stroller with little tracker in there, and she's got running shoes on, and she's walking the baby in a jogging stroller, wanting to lose weight, but hating the idea of it, right? So I'm off running, doing my thing, right? And she's like, oh, for crying out loud. Like, everything is set up for me to run. I should just do it, right? And at the time, I was actually an adventure guide. I wasn't doing personal training, right? I was an expedition guide for a youth wilderness therapy program, and I was on trail 9 days and then off for 6 days. So I'd go 9 days on, 6 days off. And I came back, I think it was after my 2nd or 3rd shift, and my wife, she says to me, she says, hey, do you mind babysitting Tracker, our youngest, our firstborn, Saturday morning? And I'm like, yeah, why, what's going on? She's like, oh, well, I'm running a 5K race, and I didn't want to take the stroller. And for me, that somebody could have hit me in the head with a frying pan, and I wouldn't have been more shocked, right? Because here's this gal that absolutely hates running, hates it, right? Working out is a necessary evil, and now she's running on a 5K race, and she ran it, and she got a really good time. She was like 24, 25 minutes for the 5K, which was really good. I was very, very proud, And what had happened is she had done what I'm explaining to you, just on her own. Because I don't take my work home from me, because that's a good way to get a punch in the face. You're sitting at the table and your wife, and you're like, you gonna eat that, really? Never take your work home as a trainer, never. Okay. Anyway, so she went and she did this long, slow duration. She hits this 5K race in about, a month and a half, right? That's how fast your body will condition to endurance training. Endurance training, you condition very quickly. However, you need to be doing endurance training 2 to 3 times a week to be able to improve or maintain what you're doing. This is not a once a week thing to maintain. Strength training, you train a muscle group once a week, you'll maintain what you have, okay? If you do less, then you're gonna atrophy. If you do more, you might gain, right? Depending on what percentage of your 1 rep max you're training at, okay? So that long, slow duration is really one of the best trade secrets that I can share with you guys for helping your clients get on board with running.